Hey, Warren, Eckstein here. Dogs can be optimistic or pessimistic, just like people, according to a new study. I probably didn't get the opportunity to talk about it on the show, so let me share it with you now. A new study on dog behavior has revealed that some dogs are inherently more optimistic than others, just like people. Dr. Starling, an animal behaviorist at the University of Sydney in Australia, did a study on this, and it really fascinated me. And then I tried to evaluate my own dog and think, is Molly optimistic? Is Willie pessimistic? Optimistic dogs are more adventurous and persistent because they expect positive outcomes to result from their efforts, just like people. Now, pessimistic dogs, on the other hand, were more risk averse and cautious, not expecting things to go the right way, kind of like me. Doing radio as long as I have, you get it. But it's really a fascinating study. That's why I wanted to share it with you guys. Researchers were quick to point out that neither disposition was necessarily better than the other disposition, so they're both equal in terms of livability. But what they discovered was really interesting. Service dogs who tend to do well in training are more pessimistic, whereas optimistic dogs would like to be more suited for search and rescue work. Let me repeat that because it's kind of fascinating. What they discovered was that service dogs who tend to do well in training are more pessimistic, whereas optimistic dogs would like to be more suited for search and rescue. Interesting stuff. A pessimistic dog that avoids risk would be better as a guide dog, while an optimistic, persistent dog would be more suited detecting drugs or explosives. Now, you know my specialty was teaching dogs to sniff out drugs and explosives and bombs and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of looked at this study and said, Warren, is it real? I mean, are dogs optimistic or pessimistic? I mean, I've seen every personality possible. I've trained over 40,000 dogs and cats, but I never really looked at it from an optimistic or pessimistic point of view. You all know about 3 years ago I adopted Molly and Willie, my two amazing little chai pins. If you don't know what a chai pin is, I didn't either. It's kind of half Chihuahua and min pin, but they're absolutely adorable. Anyway, they're so different than each other. They're so bonded. I've never seen two dogs more bonded, but Willie is so optimistic. Everything Willie does is something exciting is going to happen. He's going to run to me and he knows something special is going to happen, or someone's coming to the house, or something in the backyard. So he's really, really an optimistic type dog because everything he does ends in a result that he wants. Molly, on the other hand, not so optimistic. Molly's much more of a pessimist. She's very curious about things and really kind of stays away from things that might make her afraid. So it's amazing to me how these two dogs, brought up in the same horrible environment, brought to this insane, horrible shelter, and then finally adopted by Denise and myself, have such different personalities. And I think it's kind of interesting to note that the optimism and pessimism is kind of like related to people. So my question has to be now, and this is my own study, and I'm going to do it with you guys on the radio. Are people that are optimistic more apt to have a dog that behaves in an optimistic way, and are those that are more pessimistic have a dog that behaves in a pessimistic way? I'm also going to try to do some more research and find out in terms of cats having the same problem. So it's something you never thought about, something I really never thought about, but I'm glad I was able to share it with you. And now I'd like you to take some time to evaluate your own dogs to determine if your dogs are pessimistic or optimistic as well. It's fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. I'm glad I can help you out. But on the next couple of weeks in the radio, I'd love to have you guys call me or send me a Facebook at facebook.com/thepetshow. Don't forget the Pet Show, facebook.com/thepetshow. I'd like to hear from you guys and find out if you believe that your dogs are optimists or pessimists. Interesting study. Hey, don't miss the Pet Show every single week. Until then, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you, one between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and I'll see you on the air.